Vamos a iniciar con el profesor Francesco Landi. El profesor Francesco Landi es jefe del Geriatric Internal Medicine Unit del Departamento de Geriatría del Hospital Universitario Gemelli y es profesor asociado del Servicio de Medicina Interna de la Catholic University of Rome en Italia. El doctor tiene la especialidad en geriatría y tiene múltiples distinciones en investigación en el ámbito clínico y enfoca su investigación en fragilidad, funcionalidad en personas mayores. Doctor Francesco, benvenuto.
Gracias, and sorry, I can perfectly understand the Spanish, but I'm not able to speak Spanish, so I'll try to speak English, not Italian. I think it's better. And but I mean, if you want, you can eventually stop me if you need some clarification. And during the discussion, we can have the opportunity to better understand what I want to give you as a lesson. I see a lot of young people here, so I want to try to share with you my experience as a geriatrician and what I'm doing with my job, with my team in Catholic University, in the Gemelli Hospital. Probably you know the Gemelli Hospital is the Pope Hospital. Usually the Pope, when was ill, Francisco, came in my hospital. But first of all, I want to spend a few seconds to say thanks, Professor Parodi, to invite me here and to share with other great colleague with you in Lima this experience. The topic is frailty. And when we thinking about frailty, now I think that we need to thinking about healthy longevity, healthy lifespan. And we absolutely need to better understand how we can obtain this healthy longevity, healthy aging, healthy lifespan. And I want to introduce you this concept that is not exactly new. It's a couple of years that the WHO published this document, the HiCOPE document, that I think is really nice and impressive because we have a clarification of what means our life in terms of functional ability, and the representation is like a tree. So the health of our tree is the flower, the color of our tree, that is a functional ability. And we can try to summarize functional ability in two domains: physical function and cognitive function. But how this tree, our life, is aging in terms of healthy aging, if the root are health, exactly as for the tree. Is the tree as a good root, the tree is beautiful. And this is the same for us. And what is the root? The intrinsic capacity. And the intrinsic capacity is our biological mechanism. Obviously, we have another important point, that is the environment. I have not the time, and is out of my topic, but the environment, the climate change, the pollution is really, really important. You are young. This is your planet, and the message is a healthy planet for the healthy longevity. We have no healthy longevity without a healthy planet. So I have no time, but you have to think that also the diet, the exercise, the possibility to have a healthy lifestyle depends on the environment. So this is really, really important. But now I want to focus on this, the intrinsic capacity. The intrinsic capacity, as I say, has a different domain, but I want just to focus on cognition and locomotion. And here you can see that this is the pillars of intrinsic capacity, and we have a lot of biological mechanism inside of this intrinsic capacity. But what's happened during our life? We decline. We absolutely decline. The intrinsic capacity decline until the adult age, and the decline is, the angle of decline is higher after the adult age. And with the decline of intrinsic capacity, we have a decline of functional ability. So this means that when we arrive here and you are old, you are in this cutoff, the cutoff of physical and cognitive frailty status. But okay, you can see, you come from Italy, from Rome, just to give us this bad news. No, we have some good news, because we can improve our intrinsic capacity. But look for this animation. We can improve the intrinsic capacity here, but it's not so easy to improve the intrinsic capacity when we are old. But what this means is that if we are able to improve intrinsic capacity during our life, this is the line of functional ability. And when you arrive at the old age, you are up of the cutoff of physical frailty. This means probably that we can obtain an healthy aging, an healthy lifespan, but we need to have a care of our intrinsic capacity. That means a care, for example, of muscle and brain. So I have tried in the second part of my presentation, after the other two colleagues, to go in depth of this. But I think that it's important that we have some data that it's really, I think it's really nice that we published 5 years ago. This is the hand grip strength. And we collect data in the normal people, in middle of the street, in different activity. One of these activity is the longevity run and the longevity checkup. And you can see that for both male and female, the hand grip is quite stable until 50 years age old, and then start to decline. But now, after 5 years, we publish this article using the machine learning and the artificial intelligence. And the curves is quite similar, but we have another important message, that between two messages. First, the decline depends not only based on age and gender, but also in the phenotype, the exome. And the most important two variables that influence the hand grip are the weight and the height. But these curves suggest another important things, that the variation that we observe between 40 and 60 year age old is important to determine the angle of the decline after 60. So the middle age is so important in terms of how we can manage, how we can improve our intrinsic capacity to improve our functional ability when we are old. So we improve the healthy lifespan. And this is exactly the same for the chair stand test. Probably you know the chair stand test is the time is 5 repetitions up and down from a chair without the help of the arm, with the arm in this position, and we take the time. So the time, again, in this case, is stable until 50 and then start to improve. This means that we spend more time to complete the test. And when we apply, again, the machine learning activity, the machine learning approach, we have the same results. The variation between 40 and 60 years age old is important in the angle of the decline during the old phase of our life. So this means that we can use this exactly to identify frailty status, not only when we are old, but eventually when we are adult, when we are young. And this is the same for the muscle mass. So the data are consistent in terms of physical performance. I have not the data with me, is unpublished the data, But now we introduce also in this database, in this activity that we do in different places, usually in the square of the touristic place in Italy, in the north, center, and south of Italy, and we introduce also some task in terms of cognitive performance. For example, one task is how many words are you able to say starting with the letter F in 30 seconds. And the decline and the curves is exactly the same for the muscle, for the hand grip. We have the mean of 12 words until 50, and then we start to decline. So I think that this is really important. The mechanism behind and below and inside intrinsic capacity in terms of brain and muscle probably is exactly the same. But the problem now is, okay, this is a lot of bad news, but we can do something. Yes, you are so young, so I want to start here. We can improve our intrinsic capacity starting from the young age in terms of prevention of chronic condition and early detection and control of risk factors. For sure, this is important along all our life, but it's much more important during the age, the young age and the adult age. And what we can do, this is the lifestyle. And I want to introduce this concept. We are medical doctors. Usually, when I was a student like you, my focus and the focus of the medical course are on primary prevention. Now we need to move here, primordial prevention. That means that we need to assess the risk factors like family history, smoking, hypertension, dyslipidemia, diabetes, sedentary lifestyle, obesity, and eventually also the other one, non-traditional, like air pollution and climate change. And it's important. 2 years ago in Circulation, the American cardiologists, so it's really the huge group around the world of medical doctors, the cardiology from US, published this article that it's really important. I really, you know, as probably you, I really love the semantic approach. And first, why it's important? Because the cardiology use the terms life, not heart. This is Circulation. This is a group of cardiologists, so it makes sense that heart's essential aid. No, life. This means that these 8 factors are important for the life. This means for longevity. This means for the lifespan. And it's so easy. Diet, exercise, blood, the glycemia, the blood glucose, the BMI, the body mass index, lipids, in particular cholesterol, blood pressure, avoid smoking, and the sleep, the good sleep. Have a good sleep. That means the capacity to manage the stress in the right way. So only these 8 factors. And this is a cartoon in Circulation. It's really, really nice. And we need to start from pregnancy and infancy, early childhood, and we go to older age. And as yesterday discussed with my friends here, I say that the geriatrician would need to move from older age at least to early adult. Here, we need to improve this kind of program in terms of prevention, because this probably means to improve the intrinsic capacity and then to improve the functional ability to obtain the healthy longevity, the healthy aging. But I want to show you this data. It's really impressive. I think 3 or 4 weeks ago, less than one month ago in New England. Look this article. It's I tried to simplify. They assess these factors, the 5 free factors, instead of a healthy diet and exercise. So if you have no smoking, normal body weight, normal glycemia, normal cholesterol, normal blood pressure, at the age of 50. This is the curves, both for men and women in terms of cardiovascular disease-free survival, overall survival, death from any cause, and cardiovascular disease. So if at the age of 50, you can gain for at least 13 years, the women, and 11 men without cardiovascular disease, but at least 15 years of survival in the men and 12 years of survival in men. So we can gain a lot of years of survivals in healthy status. Why they separate healthy diet and the exercise? Because healthy diet and exercise overlap all these 5 factors. If you put healthy diet and exercise, you obtain the same results, because the probability to have normal blood pressure, normal BMI, normal glucose, cholesterol, and no smoking is higher in the people that follow a healthy diet and exercise program. So for this reason, we implement in Italy this program. This is the Longevity Run program. We collect data on the cardiovascular risk factors, but also on physical performance. And I want to show you really briefly in 2 minutes the most important results. First, we have a clear correlation between the cardiovascular health metrics, the life health metrics, with the physical performance. For example, with the chest stand test. We have better performance when all the risk factors are absent. And again, in terms of exercise, look at this. This is again the chest stand test. We divide our sample. Now we have a sample of 25,000 subjects from 18 years age old to 98, okay? If you divide the subject in sedentary, the subject that say that only walking, aerobic exercise and resistance exercise, you can see first that the old age, the 80 years age old, has the same performance of the 50 age. So this means that we can modify the curves, the decline, the curves, and probably because the exercise can improve the intrinsic capacity. But now, it's really strange because I didn't write in the paper, because I understand this, I realized this after. Look for exactly what's happened from the young people to 50 years age old. We have no difference between the 4 groups. This means that at that time, the intrinsic capacity is enough for the performance, for the normal performance. So I cannot see the change in the physical performance in sedentary compared with the physically active people. But after, this is the curves. The curves is completely different. This is the performance is the double in the sedentary people as the double of the other people. And obviously we have the biological plausibility, and also we have the same data for the diet. The people that follow the Mediterranean diet and has a good diet, a good diversity diet, a good healthy diet, has the same results in terms of, in this case, of sarcopenia. And this is the biological plausibility of the healthy diet. So this means that exercise, for example, and diet has biological plausibility to work in the right way in terms of functional ability. So now I stop here and I follow in the second part of my presentation, starting from this, that probably the ICOPE we published a couple of months ago can help us to manage frailty and sarcopenic subjects, because we are able to identify before, early in our life, the problem and try to modify. So now I want to show you really briefly a video of our activity. I am not Dr. Fit, but I have this social, this longevity run, and 2 weeks ago, we have the last longevity run after the tour that we have, the 2025 tour in Italy, and this is Rome, the last longevity run of this year in Rome 2 weeks ago. I think it's really, really impressive of my ancient city, like your ancient country. As you see, we perform all the physical functional activities, not only the run, because we organize the Friday and Saturday the health village, and everybody can check it. This is the Sunday morning we run in the historical center of Rome. This is the Colosseum. Exactly. Inside, this is the Stadium of Terme di Caracalla, an historical place close to the Colosseum.
Ma questa non è solo una corsa, non è solo una gara podistica, ma è un messaggio importante per quanto sia fondamentale fare prevenzione e adottare dei corretti stili di vita.
L'ho trovata molto bene. Pensavo di leggere meno, di trovarmi male, invece è proprio carina, è stata un'idea molto carina.
Per me questo significa condivisione, sport, salute.
Thank you and see you later. And follow the longevity run Instagram page.